Welcome to Find Your Strong, the podcast that's here to help you free yourself from food rules, fitness guilt, and those weird detox teas.
Oh, do not get me started, Ella.
All right, I won't. I'm Ella, nutritionist and intuitive eating counselor.
And I'm Christine, personal trainer, intuitive eating counselor, and your hype woman for joyful movement.
You are, woohoo! Together we talk to experts, share stories, and hopefully leave you feeling a bit more at home in your body.
So if you're ready, let's find your strong.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to sit really close to the screen because I'm worried about my microphone not working very well.
And then we can see your lovely face a little bit closer. That's nice. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. We were just talking about it. Busy day. And it's hustle culture annoys the crap out of me, but you can't get help getting sucked in a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Rushing about. You've got to really think about this. I think maybe it's a British cultural thing, but it is just from one thing into the other. Kids have activities, kids have stuff, so you plan out your day. It's all logistics. And when do you actually just sit and enjoy, anyway.
Rarely. And then we feel bad for doing it.
Oh,
right? Yeah. Right. I wanted to ask you in particular and wanted to talk to you about this because you're the movement expert amongst us. Because this is something that's been coming up in conversation, either directly because people tell me or indirectly because they make a comment that makes me think, and that is about movement and exercise, and when does it become an excuse to eat, an unhelpful tool, a thing that is a little bit compulsive, and how do we draw the line between looking after our bodies, which we absolutely do when we move, and when is it becoming an issue because we're doing it not too much is maybe not the right word, but you know what I mean, when we're doing it for the almost the wrong reasons.
Well, this is such a good question because before Christmas, I had lots of people come into classes because they were like, oh, I'm going to be eating so much at Christmas, so I need to exercise now. So I'm not feeling too guilty about it. And that's where you can just tell there's so many people that mindset. And they've eaten a lot over Christmas, and now they're going to have to exercise it off and punish themselves, for that amount of food, rather than just going, "Oh, I really enjoyed that food. That was lovely," and then getting back into routine. And your body is very smart. Your body knows like what to do. But anyway, so I'm getting off tangent. But yes, exercise is an amazing tool for health, for mental health, for physical health, for bone health, joint. It's great, but it can be misused. So and I always draw the parallel to intuitive eating because I think lots of people, when they start going down the intuitive eating path, or they just want to stop dieting, really struggle with movement because they've always tied both together. So they've always done dieting and exercise because it's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go to classes, you do all the cardio, you do the burn classes, the sculpt classes, the hot yoga classes, or whatever it is. Now there's freaking hot fitness Pilates. Shut up. Just do Pilates. You don't freaking need hot fitness Pilates. No. That's not what it's about.
I think that would make me really, really angry. I hate being hot at the best of times, and if I had to move
in Pilates.
God, no. Stop it.
But yeah, so it's one of these things that I have taken a long time to get my head around, and I'm really getting there. So I just sort of anecdotally this year, as I've said before, I was going to run a marathon because I'm 50, not yet, but soon.
Please tell me that that's not a prerequisite of turning 50, because I'm not planning on running a bloody marathon.
I was going to, because for some reason I felt I had to show, even though I'm 50, I can still do
I can still do it.
And then I thought, that's ridiculous. I could just have a nice time. Not go 20-mile runs every, and I was like, well, that is growth right there. And I have other little goals that I have, goals, other stuff that I want to do, but it's not as all consuming and it's enjoyable and there's lots of room for flexibility and
Mm,
restructuring.
mm,
And whereas at the beginning of my intuitive eating journey, in inverted commas, I just exercised to replace the food. So I was like, okay, I'm eating more normally in inverted
mhm,
commas, but I'll
mhm.
just exercise more than I've ever done before
Yeah,
because that'll assuage the guilt and the shame. And that never works because you're replacing one thing with the other.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That I think the key word of what you just sort of the last few sentences you said is flexibility, and I think that's the hardest thing to learn really and to come by because we're so used to being in a very rigid pattern of doing certain things. And as you said, I think you're bang on with the, oh, I'm eating more normally. I'm eating more, basically. That's code for eating more. And therefore I need to move more
yeah.
because otherwise my body will change. Otherwise, I'll put on weight and I cannot possibly deal with that. So I think there are always repercussions. And I think the clients that I've worked with who struggled with a sort of a normal relationship to exercise and movement all did it because they started seeing it as an excuse to eat more. And coming out of that, I think, is the next step of the food. Food seems to be easy. People seem to be like, oh yeah, I ate what I wanted. I listened to my hunger cues, and I finished when I was full. I noticed I'm eating more. However, I'm now going to the gym every day, or I'm
Then food isn't easy because
no. Well,
all you're doing is
on the
right,
surface,
you might be eating
uh-huh,
normally, but you're sort of
yeah,
discounting, or what's the word? You're calculating how much exercise you need to
exactly,
do that
yeah,
extra
yeah.
food that you've eaten. So it's not
It,
actually,
no, it's pseudo permission to eat
yeah,
because you're having a little way out. But I feel like from the people that I've worked with in the past, that's something that most people really struggle with. And then that sort of has an impact on their relationship to exercise because if they then don't exercise, they feel really bad. And then the guilt comes with the eating and the guilt comes for not exercising. So you find yourself sort of from one issue moving into the next. And it's
yeah.
a fine line, isn't it, between sort of I think the thing that I'm really curious about is how do you balance by, exercising and moving in a way that feels good and is actually really good for your body, as you said, bone health, joint health, muscle mass, all of that, so mobility, all of that is really, really important, especially as we get older. But where do you know where the line is between I'm doing enough for all of that, but I'm not slipping into that I'm moving
It's
so I can
it,
eat?
it's so there's lots of different signals and signs. It's kind of if, for example, if somebody said, "Do you fancy going away for the weekend?" or "Do you fancy, if your best friend comes into town and wants to meet," or something like that, and you're nervous about meeting them because you've got training to do. So
Mm,
it's that if you get panicky about canceling training, or if it's getting in the way of your life, if you're constantly exhausted,
mm,
feeling sore all the time,
hmm.
don't have energy. So really we're looking at movement should give you some energy. Obviously
Yeah.
in life we can struggle with tiredness because none of us are sleeping. But
Yes.
certainly there's lots of little signs that you're overdoing the movement side of things.
Mm,
And I don't think movement needs to be joyful at all. I think
mm,
that's extra pressure on us. I think, oh, great, I do enjoy movement, but a vast majority of my clients really don't enjoy it,
hmm.
really enjoy the feeling,
Yes.
that self-efficacy. They're like, whoa, I lifted like 20 kilos above my head. It's like that sense of achievement and that, they love seeing the progression in terms of weights and how strong they feel and all of that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Um, so I've lost my train of thought. So
So
yeah,
it's finding a different aim of, why are you exercising?
and this is the problem I have, Ella, with intuitive eating community. I don't really have a problem with them. They're all amazing. But it's the idea that you have to be joyful movement brigade.
Mm.
No. Movement does not always have to be joyful. For me,
Mm,
find movement that's joyful. That's great. And, dance around your living room, absolutely. Do something that feels good
mm,
for your body. But it's also okay to walk outside for an hour. And,
mm,
it's a bit of work. It's also okay to kind of do a bit of mobility training so that your knees can walk and can dance and do it. It doesn't always have to be joyful. And I think some people
mm,
don't enjoy movement and haven't historically because of the tie with diet culture.
mm.
Thing. So the fact that they have to now feel, oh, if I can't find something joyful, I'm failing is ridiculous
Yeah,
to me. It's
yeah,
understand the reasoning behind it because you want to, movement has been punishment. So you want to have,
yeah,
but there is that messy middle. And I think most of us live there and it's okay to live there.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I think we have a problem with all of these terms that we use. Joyful movement. Intuitive eating in and of itself isn't the greatest way of explaining what you're doing when you are intuitively eating, because sometimes you need a bit of structure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to eat when you're not hungry. Sometimes you need to eat something that you're not enjoying massively. And I think going back to the word flexibility, I think that is really key. And the joyful movement, yes, I completely agree with you. When I did a Pilates class this morning, I can honestly tell you that out of 45 minutes, I maybe enjoyed 1 minute because that is when we did a stretch that was felt really good in my body. The rest was bloody hard and I didn't enjoy it. But now I'm feeling great. I feel like I've got energy because I did it. So the movement itself doesn't have to be joyful, but I think that's why the intuitive eating principle is called movement feel the difference. So it's about how do you feel? Do you actually feel more energized? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel fitter? Do you feel more mobile? I think that's the focus. Therefore, joyful movement isn't the greatest term, is it, for it?
And we just have to apologize to Evelyn Tribbley and Elise Resch for saying it's not the greatest term. It's amazing. We love them. But intuitive eating is wonderful. But
But
yes,
it's really hard to find the right words because it's so nuanced, isn't it? And it's not, some
uh,
people might really enjoy it, but some people might not and still get lots of benefit.
well, here's an example. So
Mm.
last night I ran a lovely running group on a Wednesday evening, which is the Wednesday Night Shufflers slow running group. It's
Love the name.
my favorite class of the week
Shufflers.
with all my other classes. I love all my classes, but I just love it so much.
Oh,
But last night it was blowing a gale and it was
oh God.
raining heavily.
Oh,
We run on the seafront, which is currently covered in stones because all the
God.
pebbles have like been thrown onto the promenade. And people did not want to go running.
Hmm.
And I said, look, I know you don't want to go. I know the weather's crap, but let's just, because we want to build this habit. We want to
Hmm.
keep running so we can keep running, so we can keep moving and just feel good in our bodies. And everybody was like, okay, let's do it. And during it, it was not fun with the rain in your face and the wind just howling.
Hmm.
But equally afterwards, we all felt amazing. I think that was
Hmm.
our favorite run because we felt so empowered afterwards. It was like, wow, we actually did that. We
Mm.
could have just stayed home in the warm.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that was an example of actually it wasn't joyful at the time, and it was. I could have been. Would I have been being kind to myself to stay home?
Mm.
There's the line between kindness to yourself and punishing yourself. Some people
Yeah.
could say that was punishing yourself, but actually, for me, that was joyful, and for the group, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is where that's where it becomes really nuanced about, are you punishing yourself? I think if you ask like 100 people, would you rather stay at home and watch telly or go and do a workout? The majority would 95% probably would say, oh, I'd rather watch telly, thank you very much. And therefore might see the 5% who actually say, no, I'll go to the gym, thanks, as punishing themselves. So this is a really interesting thing because I think when you do something that maybe doesn't immediately sing to you and you think, oh wow, I can't wait to do this. it's very easy to use that as an excuse not to do something. But then if we do it, I think we're not only actually reaping the benefits of it, but we're also becoming more resilient. That's something that just popped into my head because if we are working through some discomfort, which is what we always say we need to do, we need to sit in the suck, we need to sit with discomfort. That is a really good way of practicing discomfort is by saying, yes, my leg hurt a little bit there. I'm looking after that. I'm going to make sure that I don't injure myself, but I'm working through it by moving my body through the gale, through the horrible weather, through the cold, whatever it is. So you're actually building some resilience, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it. But and I think when you first start this journey with your eating and sort of changing your relationship with your body,
Mm,
I do think sometimes it's good to step away from movement entirely,
yeah, yeah,
even for a short time,
yeah.
and like spend some time journaling or just trying stuff out, like doing, Move GB, for example, ClassPass, anything like that that gives you an opportunity to try different things.
Mm-hmm,
And it's not about finding what's joyful necessarily, it's what interests you.
mm-hmm,
What are you curious about? What would you really like to do? As in, would you like to kind of hold a handstand? Would you like to run a mile? Would you like to dance? Would you like to learn to, find something that sparks your curiosity rather than, looking at something in terms of, okay, if I run 3 times a week, I can eat more food. So it's just
mm,
what interests you.
yeah.
So it's not always going to be joyful. To keep
No,
running, I need to strength train and take care of my mobility. To
yeah,
keep dancing, do you know what I mean? So there's always going
yeah.
to be bits of structure that we need to add in here and there once
Mm,
the time is right. But I
mm-hmm,
just think at the beginning, you need to take a break from stuff that you have been doing that wasn't serving you.
mm,
You might come back to it,
mm,
you might not. So I think that's key
mm,
down this route. And then
mm,
similarly, we were talking about this before hit record. With intuitive eating, you've got that once you've kind of gone through the stages, you've got that gentle nutrition that you bring in. It's the same with movement. I really believe in a bit of gentle structure
mm.
with lots of flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility is key, isn't it? And yeah, there are so many parallels because the intuitive eating, you're not always going to eat everything that you absolutely love. You're sometimes eating when you are not hungry because you're going to be very busy later on or whatever. So it's not a perfect thing, just like exercise and movement won't be a perfect thing. I think we come into sort of we encounter issues when we do too much, when our body's actually not wanting to move, they need a rest every now and again, or when we use everything and anything as an excuse not to move. I think we're having these two extremes that people often feel like they're struggling with.
I think if you stop moving, it's harder to move. So if
Mm,
you don't move at all, it's harder to move at all.
yeah.
The more and that's, yeah, an annoying saying, but if you keep moving, you can keep moving.
Mm,
Don't mean all the time. I love a
hmm
3 hour movie, sitting in the movie with feet up, all of that. It's not about moving all the time. It's
hmm
about every day have a little
hmm
bit of movement.
Yeah.
And that can start so small. And
Yeah.
I'm working with a client at the minute who I love. I think this is our second year. And she's just been like, she's educated me in this. So she started off by going, she hates movement. She's always found it really punishing. She's had trainers that yelled at her and told her to
Oh,
do 20 burpees and do all of that. So it's always been a bit of misery.
yeah, it sounds miserable.
So she started then to sort of change her relationship to food, and really worked on that. And then wanted to change her relationship to movement, but slowly get back into it. So it's
Mm,
been a really little steps. We meet
yeah.
twice a week for half an hour, and it's bite-sized progression. That's what I say,
Nice.
bite-sized. If it, let's try it on for size. Let's try 5, see how you feel. It's that we're gauging. But
Mm,
set that time, and every week she meets me 2 sessions a week. Some days she's knackered, so we just do mobility. Some days she's been really strong, so we then build it up. And I think it is knowing that every day your energy's different,
Mm,
plan, but on the day when you wake up and you maybe start moving, you're like, oh, I'm really stiff. Maybe do much less, maybe do body weight only instead of the weights. So
mm,
I always think it's checking in with your body
mm,
and not overriding if you feel absolutely wiped out
mm,
of capacity, not overriding that.
mm,
I think it's okay to feel like, oh, I don't want to be bothered and do it
mm-hmm,
anyway.
mm-hmm,
Okay. But if you are wiped out, you're sore, and you really know that you probably should just rest,
mm-hmm.
that's where the growth is.
Yeah,
Giving yourself that rest.
yeah,
And for
yeah.
those people that, sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, go for it. This is all really, really interesting.
For those people that struggle to move at all, then I think it has to start really small.
Mm,
Like
mm,
literally 5 minute of walk around the block, meet your friend, get a coffee, have a short walk somewhere
mm,
that's nice, picturesque, like the seafront or something,
mm,
or go to like a really gentle class that you might like, stand at the back, give yourself like just space to work it out and
mm.
just little tiny bits, bit by bit by bit. Um,
Yeah.
and just give, it's really hard. It's really hard if you're going from a place of you see movement as punishment and you've got that association and you struggle with movement. I completely can understand that completely.
Mm.
And
But
that,
it's going to be so, so beneficial. As you said, if you keep moving, you can keep moving. It's the first few steps of actually getting back into it, which will probably feel really hard and you're probably struggling and it's going to be painful because you're stiff and you haven't moved for a long time. But I think the more you do it, the more you enjoy it and the more you get from it and you realize the benefit that you're getting from moving.
Ella, I think it's important to find classes and teachers that are not like, get on the floor.
That's horrible.
You find a freaking teacher that
Uh-huh.
gives lots of options and doesn't
Yeah.
patronize you and make you
Yeah.
feel like crap if you're not, and doesn't go, this is the hard one, this is the easy version. No, that's
Mhm.
patronizing and crap. Everybody's bodies are different. So
Mm,
it's finding somebody you relate to who's that basically just you don't feel bad when you go to a
mm,
class. You want to come back feeling, oh, I managed to do something today, or do you know what I mean? It's
mm.
very important that you can relate to and get on with the instructor, and that you don't do a class that just makes you feel like crap.
Yeah, definitely. And also that's what's going to make it more sustainable because if you feel good, if you have connection with the person that's either training you or the people in the group, you're much more likely to go back. If you're being shouted at and you made to feel crap for not doing 20 burpees, then you're not going to go back because why would you want to do that? So I think it has that secondary benefit of actually finding that enjoyment that may not happen during the exercise, but the enjoyment is from, as you said, walking somewhere nice where you can listen to the birds or see the sea or, whatever it is, having that connection with other people, going to a place where, you feel safe and you feel happy. That's a secondary benefit of the actual physical benefit of moving. So, trying to find something that gives you both is ideal because then it's sustainable and then it can be verging on joyful movement, right?
Yeah. And do you find, so I find if you grab a friend, so
Mm,
maybe you've got a friend you could work out with, or you could go to the gym with, or you could go swimming with, or go to a dance class. So that's
mhm.
really important too, because that'll make it more, give you that tiny bit of accountability
Yeah,
at the beginning, just to
yeah,
help you get started.
yeah, yeah, it can help. For me personally, I don't like that.
Hmm.
Because I like that I just go and do what I want to do rather than having that. But I can totally see, and I see people at the gym all the time who come in pairs and they spot each other and they do stuff together and they encourage each other. Let's do another 5 minutes of this and then we can move on. Or, they show each other things that they've learned from other class. I love that. For me personally, that's not the way I like exercising, but and I think it's because when I move, I want to clear my head And if I like going for a dog walk every now and again with a friend, but generally that is my time where I don't have to talk to anybody. So I quite like that. Or I listen to my audiobooks or my podcasts when I exercise. So I prefer that, but I think, everyone is different, but I completely agree with you. Having that little bit of accountability to get you started, especially if you're doing it with someone who's in a similar kind of situation to you, where maybe you haven't done anything for a while and you just want to motivate each other. I think that's fantastic.
Well, I understand that, Ella, because I
Mm,
like to run on my own. If I'm
yeah.
struggling with life and emotions, I like to go for
Yeah.
clear my head.
Yeah.
So sometimes I love running with a friend and chatting to them.
Mm,
Sometimes, so I'm a bit of both, and I think that's
yeah.
fine too. It's
Yeah.
whatever works.
Definitely.
But what I would say is do not discount 5 minute movement,
Mm,
15-minute movement, all of that. So I heard from a friend the other day, oh, I'm not doing an hour though, so it doesn't really count. So why even bother? And I'm like, no,
mm,
I rarely do an hour. I mean, the only time
mm,
I do an hour is if I actually go to a class. Um,
mm.
I don't like doing an hour. Too much.
Yeah. I agree.
And you don't have to do an hour.
Mm,
Don't scrimp on your mobility bit at the beginning.
mm,
Say 30, 40 minutes is more than enough. 20, 30 minutes, fantastic. 15 minutes, it's all brilliant, especially at the beginning. 5 minutes. I would tell all clients do 5 minutes 3 times a week. Get that
yeah.
in your routine and then
Yeah.
build on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it has to fit into your life as well, doesn't it? You can't just say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week for an hour and a half when you haven't got that hour and a half spare to do that in one sitting. Break it up into smaller chunks and spread it out over the day if you can. As to quote a very popular supermarket, every little helps, I think. Every little thing that you do is going to be helpful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it's so that doesn't work. I think you also got to bring neurodivergence into the picture.
Mm,
Because for me, weirdly, I like a plan. Even though I have
mm.
an ADHD brain, I like a plan. I don't always follow it.
But having it,
Sometimes I like to mix stuff up and do.
I know.
I did a workout from the week before, and then but I like to know because decision fatigue is real.
Mm-hmm.
I hate waking up going, okay, which workout am I going to do? Should I do
Mm-hmm.
this? But maybe I'll do the strength one, but I don't know because I did strengthen, and then it's like an hour passed and I haven't done a thing.
Yeah.
So I have a trainer who writes me a plan. I tell him my goals, and it's quite a good thing if you can afford it and find somebody who sort of offers a program, somebody who's experienced who you
Mm,
get on with all of that. It's really helpful.
mm.
But with built-in flexibility, that's really important.
Yeah.
Um, and I always think that don't consistency really turns me off. Discipline really turns me off. I don't like either
Mm,
of those words.
mm,
Equally, I love the power of showing up,
mm,
being persistent about it. Just try, keep showing up. You don't
mm,
have to do it all. You can half-ass it. Just keep showing up.
mm,
Things that you have agreed to show up to,
mm-hmm.
best of your ability, and you'll really see the difference, not in your body physically, but you'll feel the difference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's quite
And
about feeling the difference, isn't it?
yeah, and that's it. And you can only get to feeling the difference when you let go of um all of the sort of the diet mentality ways of looking at exercise, because you're not feeling, you're just thinking about it and excusing and finding pseudo permission to eat. And yeah, definitely feeling it and feeling it, and when you feel the difference, that's also what's going to make it sustainable, because then you will want to do it because it'll make you feel good.
Yeah, but so we have to talk before we stop. Our lovely listeners know that we like a tangent.
Hmm.
It's important to talk about the mental health side of things, the movement
Mm.
for mental health. If I'm struggling with my mental health, I overdo exercise.
Oh, right.
I know that, and I know that about myself.
Okay.
So, because I need to get out of my head. I need to get out of my head and into my body.
Mm,
I know that at times, actually, sometimes I need to sit with what I'm feeling. And that is something that I see an awful lot of exercise for mental health. it's fantastic, but it is not therapy. And I do think it's almost like pushing down your emotions.
Mm,
Exercise brings you that little bit of relief because you're
mm,
channeling it, but I don't always think it's the answer.
interesting. Yeah, but the interesting thing that you said right at the beginning is that if I just need to get out of my head and into my body, and I think you can exercise and still be in your head. And I think then you're not actually doing anything. But if you're moving your body, it's a way of, or it can be, it isn't always, but it can be a way of releasing any of that negative stuff that's going on in your head and gives you endorphins and makes you feel more able to cope with whatever's pissing you off or whatever's
But it
you're
can't
struggling with.
be your only coping mechanism because
Yeah.
what if you get injured?
Yeah.
What happens then?
Exactly.
You can't keep doing
Exactly.
if you're just doing it all the time, and it can get to the point where if you're going through a really hard time, you need to exercise more and more and more. And then
Mm,
what happens when you just overload your body and you just
mm,
what? So it's brilliant for processing. Believe me, my dad died. I ran every day and it was the best thing.
mm.
But at some point, it's good to have other things in your toolkit.
Yeah.
And also to try and not just do the hard exercise, try and do the soft exercise, like the gentle yoga, where you're
Mm,
literally lying on the floor hugging your knees in occasionally, and not just having to go hard all the time.
yeah. Yeah, I think when you are doing the gentle stuff, that is often when emotions come up. When you're doing a hip opener or stuff like that, that's sometimes when people start spontaneously sobbing in a yoga class. It's less likely to happen when you're doing a full-blown hit class or like punching something. But yeah, I think it's finding that happy medium between
Well,
both.
this was the best thing that I've ever heard is I went for boxing lessons after my mum died because I thought
Mm,
I need to, and I feel really don't know what to do with this feeling and
mm.
box. And the boxing coach, Christina, is amazing. And I said, I'm just here because I'm really stressed. Mum's just died and I need to box it out. So I'm coming here rather than therapy. She was like, we recommend both.
Love it.
Like,
Mm.
she's totally right.
Mm.
Obviously, we can't all afford therapy.
No.
It's a very privileged position, sadly, to be in if you can afford therapy. But
Mm.
do you know what I mean? It's not, the exercise is certainly great
Hmm.
in terms of getting you out just a different perspective and just,
Yeah.
but it isn't everything.
No. No. But it can be an incredibly helpful tool
It can be a
when you're, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
can. Do you find it good for your stress?
Oh, 100%. And I've noticed since I've been moving a bit more again that I feel a lot better in myself. But I need, just like you, I need a bit of flexibility because my days are not the same from week to week. And also I don't want to do the same thing week to week. I want to change it up a little bit. So for me, that's very important. But I 100% feel better. 100% feel better. I also feel, I think, I don't know if I said it on the podcast last week, but I've started doing 1 day a week. I'm doing some mobility exercises and I find them incredibly helpful because I don't want to be a 65, 70-year-old who can't get up off the floor. I want to be that person who can, just lift herself up. I want to be able to hold a plank. I want to be able to do the things like going up the stairs without getting out of puff. So for me, it's a long-term goal of having a well-functioning body for as long as I can and with whatever means I have personally. Obviously, there's all sorts of stuff that can happen that are completely outside of my control. But what I can control and what I can do to make sure that my body functions well for as long as possible, that's the aim of the game for me. So therefore, I try and sort of mix it up a little bit.
Well, I like that you like flexibility because I do as well. I'm very
Mm,
into that. I don't like the same every week.
no.
I think that's something that it's important to sort of think about if you're starting a new routine with movement.
Mm,
Like if you don't want to be bored.
no.
I almost think getting curious about what you like and what
Mm,
works for you and what
yeah.
is such a nice um distance from, oh, which is going to burn the most calories, which is going to do.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's such a break from that. It's such a like different
Definitely.
world to think, oh, what would I quite like to do? What did I used to be able to do? And I'd like
Mm,
to try again. Or what have I never done? Or
mm,
as you're saying with the mobility, wouldn't it be brilliant if I could easily get up off the floor?
mm.
Wouldn't it be brilliant if I could, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. It's like what interests me? What's
Yeah.
important to me? What are my values? What, you know, it's
Yeah.
thinking like that and
Yeah.
noting it down rather than, okay, what's going to burn calories? What's going to, be the most punishing
Yeah.
workout? It's like
Yeah.
the difference of those two worlds is crazy and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
This is joyful. I don't
Mm,
get the movement itself, but it's lovely thinking about, wow, what would I actually like to do rather than
mm.
need to do this, I need to do this, otherwise I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
that's lovely when you see you've got towards this side and further away from that side. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth sticking with it because it is lovely when it does.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. So to sum up, so we had red flags when you're overdoing it. Red flags are when you're canceling things that you should be or you wanted to go to, like not seeing friends. And red flag is when the only reason you choose exercise is to make up for what you ate, those
Yeah.
kind of things. Red,
And when you feel sore, when you're
yeah.
feeling tired all the time and just
Hmm.
no energy and you're doing too much.
Yeah. And then we talked about that exercise doesn't have to be joyful, but you can get any sort of secondary benefits, not just the physical primary benefits that you're getting from it, but the secondary benefits, which is community, building strength, building mobility, going somewhere nice, and that is part of the joy aspect of it, right? And then we also talked about if you haven't moved at all for a long time, take it very, very slow and understand that it can be really hard, but it will build resilience and it will help you move more the more you move.
Yes, you're amazing at that. But
Yes.
if you haven't moved for a long time, start with like a slow running group or a
Mm,
really small bit of movement. Don't try and do 3 times a week at this. Don't fall for the fitness packages out there.
mm.
Just take it really small. So
And
don't
make it fit into your life, right?
fit into your life for a few weeks. And if you're like, oh, I've got this now, then add something else. Just yeah.
Yeah.
But well
Yeah.
done. I'm really impressed with that.
A good summary, right?
And thank you all for listening. We appreciate you so much. I loved that conversation, and we really hope you did as well. And we will see you next